Hi yogis. I know that everything is a little bit different right now, but that's no reason why we can't find a little bit of the familiar in our day-to-day. So typically I would be teaching a yin class tonight, looking over the river in Youngstown, but since that's not going to happen, we'll go about a little yin ourselves here. So find yourself a space, gather some supplies, and maybe try to tune out the rest of the world. I know it's probably chaos for you at home. I managed to find a couple of minutes of quiet, and I'm sure that won't last very long. So if chaos erupts around me, just try to go with it. All right, so for a yin practice, sometimes it's nice to have some props to help you out to get into the shapes. We're only going to do 5 different shapes today. But you might want to bolster. If you don't have a bolster, a big pillow, like something with some firmness to it, will work just as well. Blocks, just your standard yoga block, whatever you might have available. If you don't have yoga blocks, you could use books, or something kind of squarish and sturdy. And this isn't necessarily a yoga prop, but I've been using this a lot more. This is a barre ball, or you could use a playground ball if your kids have something like this. Just something that's kind of sturdy and with a little bit of give to it. So again, you could use a pillow instead of this if you don't have it, or if you don't have any of these props, you can just do these shapes right seated on the floor without anything at all. So I'm also going to put the link for my yin playlist that I've been using this month, so that you can, if you have Spotify, you can put that on while we go through this. If you prefer something a little softer and more traditional yoga-wise, you can certainly just go out there and search on any of the streaming platforms you use for yoga music, and I'm sure something will come on up. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to bring our hands to our knees. I'm not sure if you can hear, but my bird is very, very excited at this time of day, so she is going to serenade us from upstairs. All right, so bring your hands to your knees and tuck your chin in towards your chest. And take a nice big inhale, and then maybe sigh it out. Just take a few rounds of this breath. Now start to become aware of that breath. As you breathe in through your nose, feel that breath. What does it feel like? Is it cool as it comes in through your nose? Maybe you can trace it all the way down the throat and into the lungs. Exhale out completely. Take a few breaths take a few rounds of this breath and just really become very acutely aware of the breath as a whole. What are you feeling? How does your body move with each breath? How are you changing every time you exhale? Regardless of regardless of whatever chaos might be happening in your life, you always have that breath. Bring all of your focus to every inhale, and let the world melt away on the exhale. With your next breath, go ahead and soften your face. Notice if you have any wrinkles in the forehead, or maybe you're frowning. As you inhale, smile to yourself. Even if you're alone in the room, big smile. How does it feel? Feel that smile really deeply. Let it go all the way into your bones. Feels better already, doesn't it? Feel yourself sitting on your mat, or on your floor, or wherever you happen to be. in each micro moment. Each breath is its own micro moment. You have complete control over this micro moment. You only have to worry about this one right here. The next one will take care of itself. If you like, you can start to add some gentle neck stretches here, bringing right ear to right shoulder, dropping the head down, left ear to left shoulder, and just rocking gently from side to side. This is a practice that you can hear rather than needing to see. So maybe you keep the eyes closed and shut out a little bit more of the world. Bringing your chin towards your chest, feeling the length up the back of the neck, starting with the base of the skull and all the way down between the shoulder blades. Take that nice big in-breath and that big, beautiful out-breath as you start to lift your head. Already just focusing on the breath has put you in a place of presence. So as we move into our first shape, let's find a straddle split. So my straddle split is always a little bit more narrow, I think, than a lot of people. And I have some tightness from a lot of the actions I do. So I run and I walk a lot. So I tend to be a little bit tight in the outer hips, and that limits my straddle split a little bit. So we're going to actually fold down into this straddle fold. I like to use a couple of blocks just to give myself a little bit of height here, so you can stack them where about you think you might land if you were to fold. Maybe test it a little bit. Alternately, you can use a bolster. You can bring that bolster around and just place it on your legs, or you can kind of prop it up at an angle and hold on to it kind of like this. This feels really good if your forward fold is very limited. Now, if you don't have a bolster and you're using a pillow, that shape might not work. So wherever you're at, find this straddle split, extend the legs to your version. Now we're going to be here for a few moments, so you don't want to overextend those hips, and it is our first shape of the day. So maybe bring the toes back towards the face to give yourself a little bit more length. Sit up nice and tall. Lead with your heart as you fold down towards the floor. So we're going to work towards our fold here. Hands can come maybe to your shins or the backs of your knees. Maybe, if you're a little bit more stretchy than I am, you might come down quite a bit further. And then keeping that flat back, continue to fold and melt down over those blocks until you can maybe let your head drape. If this seems too intense for you, you can always just cross your arms here and place your head right there on your forearms. And then melt into this shape. So as you find yourself in this forward fold, know that you still have control when you move beyond the individual breath. If you thread away and take one action at a time and focus on that action as you're performing it, you don't need to worry about the next one. You don't need to worry about the last one. Perhaps melting a little deeper into this fold as you settle in and start to warm into this shape. Head is heavy here. Sit bones are rooted into the mat. You're starting to feel a tug on the inner thighs and perhaps the lower back. Focusing on the action of hinging, the action of letting gravity pull you down. Each action, one at a time, should be your singular focus. I am breathing in. Nothing else matters but that in-breath. I am breathing out. Nothing else matters but the out-breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Just taking a few more breaths here, melting into this shape, folding down, feeling your body in each moment. Let the world melt away. Release any muscles that you might be holding. Let the head be very heavy. Savor the action of breathing one breath at a time. If your hands are on your blocks or underneath you, start to push yourself back up. Moving those blocks perhaps out of the way. Using your hands underneath your knees and maybe extending through the feet to pull the legs in. Bringing the feet to the mat. Hands can come behind you and just windshield wiper a little bit from the right to the left. To the right and the left. And then we're going to just turn and come down on your back. So make sure your legs are going long down the mat. And we're going to roll all the way down. So you can bring your feet to the mat. Knees are bent. And then just lift your hips up and remove that curve in the back somewhat. You can keep a little bit of that curve, but tuck your tailbone down towards the edge of your mat and then lower back down. We're going to take right leg over left. And maybe this is it for you today. Maybe this is as much as you can get into this shape. If you can, you might take the double wrap and hook the toes underneath the back of the calf. And then we're going to take the arms and take that same eagle shape. You're going to, this muffles my microphone when I do this. So we're going to reach the left arm underneath the right, hook the elbows. This might be enough, or you can take the double wrap and wrap the hands at the wrists. And then from here, try to find neutral, right? So your back is even on the mat. You're going to want to slide to one side or the other to make this a little bit less resistance, I guess. And then go ahead and start to slide the legs away from you, maybe pushing the arms overhead, and then let the elbows come to rest right on the head. The inside of the elbows or the biceps or your arms or whatever it is, just let them rest on your head. And maybe that left heel is on the mat here. And then soften through the belly. Focus on the task involved here. The task of this shape. You don't have to worry about anything you have on your to-do list except for this task right here, right now, in this moment. Perhaps trying the practice of single tasking. We live in a world that has glorified the multitask And all of a sudden we're thrust into this mandatory slowdown, and it's overwhelming. Relish the single task, one thing at a time. Regardless of the chaos that erupts, you can only physically do one thing at a time. Let's start to come out of this shape. So bringing the knees back in, bringing the arms out into a T shape. Maybe finding some wiggles or movement here, something that makes sense. And then we're going right to the other side. So crossing left leg over the right. This side is probably much different than the other. You might not be able to get that double bind. Maybe you can wrap the toes around the calf. Right arm goes underneath the left this time. Maybe wrapping at the ankle or at the wrists. And then pull your shoulder blades apart, away from each other, and press the arms towards the ceiling. So just the forearms are going to lift up. You're hooking your middle finger on your thumb. Now this creates some tension in the back, so back out as much as you need. Maybe you only take the single bind here to come out of the back space. You want to feel this in the outer hips. Focus on the task at hand, pushing the arms away. Breathing in, breathing out. Are you holding tension? If you're holding tension, you're not single tasking. Can you release tension? Big in breath to unwind and unravel. Let go of that whole pose. Bring the arms or the hands behind the knees and go ahead and rock yourself up. So coming up, finding an easy seat. Still with the feet down towards the end of the mat. The hands are right by your hips. And we're just going to bring the right leg over the left and find a figure 4 here. And lift the heart space. Flex the foot. Lift up. Let your head drop back. And then tuck your chin, but keep the heart lifted. If you're not feeling a stretch here, if you would like more from this shape, you can walk yourself closer to that left foot until you find a nice long spine and a deep stretch in the outer right leg. Still with the single tasking. I am breathing in. I am opening my heart. I am breathing out. Take things one thing at a time and work the problem. Whatever that problem might be, one step, one task at a time. All right, come out of this. Go ahead and tuck the chin. Walk the hands back. Slide your butt back. And then replace that crossed foot on the floor and just switch out the legs. So right foot down, left foot crosses, left knee pushes away. Using your hands, take one step forward, another step forward, find your place, peel the shoulders open, drop your head back, lift your heart, keep your heart lifted, shoulders pressed together, and chin tucks in. When everything seems overwhelming, when everything seems uncertain, move down the line until you find certainty. You don't know what next month is going to look like. What does this month look like? Maybe this month doesn't look too spelled out for you. Maybe it's very uncertain still. So maybe dial it back. What does this week look like? What's on your agenda? Grocery shopping, making dinner, doing laundry, single tasks, one thing that you control at a time. Just like this practice, one shape at a time. There is a time and a place to do many poses in many ways at once, in a vinyasa or a power class. But right now, we're just single tasking. Let's go ahead and start to walk out of this shape. So go ahead and bend your elbows, slide your booty back. Bring both feet to the mat. And maybe shake that out. Bring the arms around the shins, maybe grabbing onto your toes, rounding through the back. It feels good after that heart opener. And tuck your chin, drop your forehead to your knees. And then go ahead and unwind, unravel. Let's come all the way down onto our backs. So we're coming to our backs. We're going to come into a nice easy twist. Left leg is long down the mat. Right knee comes in towards your heart space. Give it a nice hug. Maybe finding some circles with the ankles to the right, to the left. You guys, I don't even know right and left when I'm doing it on my own. Oy. Grab onto that right knee with your left hand. Make sure your props are accessible but out of the way. And then take that right knee across the body all the way down onto the left. So this is a great place for a block or a bolster right next to you on the left side so that you can bring that leg down and find, so we're trying to find a restorative pose here, right? So you don't want to work into it. You want the muscles to be supported. So your skeleton is in alignment and you don't need to use your muscles to do that. Right arm reaches out long. Left hand can stay on your right knee to keep pulling it down, lightly weighting. You can look straight up. You can look out over the right shoulder. Twists are an excellent single task to undo stress. We're opening up muscles. We're twisting through the torso. Come back to that breath. Notice that breath now. How does it feel? Short? Choppy? Perhaps back out. Smooth but small because we're twisted. See if you can play with the edges a little bit. Bring your head back to center, look up towards the ceiling. Release any tension you have in your face. On your in-breath, unravel that twist. Bring that right knee back to center, putting the foot on the floor. Bring left foot to the floor. Lift your hips and just let them sway from side to side so you can find that nice steady base. Right arm is going to reach long. Maybe bringing the block to the other side of the mat to support you. Using your right hand on that left knee, pull it across the body, find that block. If you need a little bit of extra help, so I'm a little tight today, maybe you put that left hand underneath the lower back until you get settled into the shape. So I'm just propping myself up. My left hand is on my left hip. My right hand is on my right knee. Exhale into a deep breath. Find space here. Inhale, notice the breath. Choppy, smooth. How is it showing up? Perhaps releasing that hand from the lower back and stretching it long out from the shoulder, straight out, palm down. Single tasking your twist. Letting the world melt away. Using your left hand, bringing it back to your hip, bringing your right hand to the knee if it's not there already, unwinding and placing that left foot on the floor, and then the right foot goes to the floor. Lift the hips and sway them side to side and bring them back down onto the mat. Use your hands behind your knees and rock yourself up. Grabbing onto your ball if you have one. If you don't have a ball, you can use blocks. So I'm going to show you the setup for both. So we're going to end with a heart opener here because I don't know about you guys, but I really need to open up the heart space. Find all the positive that I can in the world right now. So you're going to set one block down the mat long ways and one across the top. The one at the top is going to catch your head. This long one is going to go down your spine. So starting just below the shoulder blades, like the middle of your back, and then rolling down over it until the head catches on the block. So this is a great shape. I love this shape. It's a little bit intense though, which is where the ball comes in. So if you like your blocks, you go ahead and stay there. Maybe you don't have a ball, you go ahead and stay there. Alternately, you can bring your pillow or your bolster to your mat and lie over that, or lay over that, just like that. If you have that ball, you're going to place it between the shoulder blades. You're going to melt down over it and let the head come down. So all three of these have benefits, and it just kind of depends on what you're feeling today, what you like for this shape. Keeping the knees bent to start. Maybe you walk the feet out and let the knees knock in. Shoulders open, opening up the heart, which is the whole point of this shape. Maybe bringing your arms out to cactus arms. Maybe letting your hands rest on the belly. And now we practice the art of letting go. Soften the face. Soften through your body. The torso is open. The hips are heavy. Letting the whole world melt away, creating your own sanctuary. That sanctuary is within your breath. It's that space between the inhale and the exhale. We'll take about 10 more rounds of breath here. Elongating each breath to enjoy a little bit longer in the shape. If some task comes to mind, allow it to move on. One breath at a time. Become more aware of your surroundings. One breath at a time. Wiggle your fingers. One breath at a time. Wiggle your toes. Using your hands behind your knees, or maybe rolling over to the side, gently start to lift yourself back up to that seat. One breath at a time. As you start to settle into your seat, and all you have is that breath as you breathe in and then let it go. Repeat to yourself, I'm okay. I'm okay. Now, it's okay. It's going to be okay. And finally, everything is okay. I'm okay. It's okay. Everything is going to be okay. Maybe drawing your mouth into a big smile for giving yourself the gift of this practice today, whatever it is. Maybe a big smile because you're okay. Everything's going to be okay. Keep coming back to that breath. Keep coming back to that smile. And perhaps keep coming back to your mat. Thank you for joining me today, yogis. Have a fabulous rest of your week. It's going to be okay. Namaste.